Hi, this is Jan Kleinschmidt for JLore. Today we're going to talk about the rumen and the wagon, Part 2. In Part 1 of the rumen and the wagon, we looked at what happens during fermentation in the rumen. In Part 2, we're going to examine the chemical and effective fibers and the cow's role in her nutrition. Let's start with chemical and effective fibers. When dairy nutritionists talk about chemical and effective fiber nutrition, they are generally referring to the ADF, the NDF, the NSC, and the ENDF. The terms ADF and NDF refer to the types of detergent solutions that are used to measure the forage fiber in an analysis laboratory. The ADF fraction contains a higher proportion of true, indigestible, or slowly digestible cellulose and lignin. ADF is a good indicator of plant or dry matter digestibility. The higher the ADF, the less digestible the forage or the ration will be. The NDF fraction contains all of the fiber components that represent bulk. NDF is a good indicator of the dry matter intake ability of a forage or feed. The higher the NDF, the less an animal can consume. NSC describes the non-NDF fraction and is composed primarily of sugar, starch, and pectin. In rations for high production groups, I like to see NSC between 35 and 40%. In reality, I rarely take my herds over 37% NSC. You're just sitting on that metabolic fence, and if you fall off, you're falling into acidosis. Diets that are rapidly fermented in the rumen lead to rapid production of the volatile fatty acids. This can occur when NSC is over 38%, and in some cases over 40%, or when it is deficient in the effective fiber in the ration. When volatile fatty acid production exceeds the ability of the rumen environment to neutralize or absorb the acids, subacute ruminal acidosis occurs. An episode of ruminal acidosis occurs when the pH in the rumen drops below 5.8. I am extremely cautious with my herds to avoid acidosis. The recovery period is 1 to 3 years, and the cost to the producer in terms of herd health and productivity is huge. When nutritionists talk about the physical attributes of fiber, they refer to it as the effective fiber, or the ENDF. Historically, fiberness was related to chewing activity, and the effectiveness was related to milk fat depression. When ENDF is decreased or inadequate, you get less chewing by the animal, less salivary buffer secreted, more rumen acid produced, reduced ruminal pH, shift in the microbial populations and end products of fermentation, whereby propionic acid is raised and acetic acid is depressed, milk fat depression, and acidosis, sick and unproductive animals over the long term. This tenuous situation is further complicated by the trend towards finely cut and processed forages and a range of byproducts that offer very little chemical or effective fiber. In my practice, all of my clients own and use the Penn State Shaker box. There are many steps between the ration on the paper and the ration consumed by the cow that can cause ration breakdown. These include loading and delivery accuracy, mixer design, loading sequence, mixing time, and animal sorting. An important point, which in my experience is too often forgotten, is mixer maintenance and cleaning. Check your TMR wagons for worn, broken, or missing parts that do not allow the mixer to function uniformly. A schedule must be in place to sharpen, replace, or rotate knives. Drastic changes in forage particle breakdown can occur if they are done all at once. Buildup of wet feedstuffs can also impair mixer function and inhibit uniform distribution of nutrients. Reducing particle size has been shown to improve the dry matter intake potential of diets, particularly if poor quality forages are involved. However, adequate particle size in the ration is necessary to avoid depressed milk fat and to maintain a healthy rumen. What exactly are they eating? We've looked at the producer's role in TMRs, we've considered the nutritionist perspective, but what role does the cow play? Nutritionists refer to three rations that exist. 1. The ration formulated on paper. 2. The ration offered by the producer to the cow. And 3. The ration eaten by the cow. There can be huge differences between these three depending on mixing accuracy and cow behavior. In one research trial, scientists fed out a perfect TMR and then did shaker boxes over a 24-hour period. The results showed that when researchers fed cows a well-balanced and mixed TMR, the cows sorted the rations and ate the concentrates and fine ingredients during the first 12 hours, setting themselves up for acidosis. During the last 6 hours, the cows were forced to eat more of the longer particles that had been sorted out. So what's the big deal? Once again, they are setting themselves up for acidosis. There's less rumination and cud chewing. There'll be more digestive upsets and fluctuations in intake. There'll be a drop in milk production and reproduction. There'll be low or erratic butterfat tests. There'll be more laminitis, sole ulcers, white line disease, etc. There'll be a higher incidence of displaced abomasums, and there'll be a depression in immune system, often resulting in body abscesses. How can we prevent sorting? You can never actually prevent sorting, but you can help to reduce it. In my TMR rations, I like the moisture content to be about 50%. Often I have to have my clients add in water or wet byproducts such as brewer's grains. You should limit dry hay or straw in TMR rations. I usually do not include more than 1 to 2 kgs of hay and usually about 1/4 to 1/2 kg of straw. Limit maximum fiber length to 5 centimeters or less. Processed corn silage helps to prevent or reduce sorting. The presence of husks and cobs in the TMR promotes sorting. I feed sodium bicarbonate to all my herds, usually at about 200 grams per head per day, but my clients will often provide free choice sodium bicarb in the free stall for animals that feel that they need that just a little bit more. A balanced ration will allow for proper digestibility, good dry matter intakes, and satisfactory feed utilization. A ration should be developed with profitable levels of milk and components in mind. TMR designers, nutritionists, and producers should not overlook the physical aspects of the ration, such as minimum forage required, maximum levels of concentrate to feed, effective fiber, and palatability. This is Jen Kleinschmidt for JLOR, because nutrition matters.